Hello, welcome to today's immigration tidbit. Well, when hiring an immigration attorney, or other attorneys for that matter, there's a lot of different crossovers, okay? And each particular area has its own specialties. Like, for example, you can have a family law attorney who's an expert in family law, and an immigration attorney who's an expert in immigration law. And imagine each one is a circle and then there's an overlapping part. Okay, the overlapping part is where immigration and family law meet. Well, there's the same concept with criminal law. You could have a criminal lawyer who's an expert in criminal law and an immigration lawyer who's an expert in immigration law, and then you have a part of it that overlaps, and that's where immigration and criminal law intersect. Some people refer to that as crimmation, okay? And it's very important. It's very, very important if you're, in trouble with the law and you're not a U.S. citizen. You have to contact an immigration attorney to advise you in regards to the criminal consequences or the immigration consequences of whatever you happen to be involved in regards to the criminal court. Now, for example, for me, I will not represent someone in criminal court because I'm not a criminal lawyer, okay? However, I will most certainly work with a criminal lawyer in order to determine what the consequences are of the particular crime that the person is in court for. And since 95% or more of criminal situations end up in a plea, it is very important for the plea to not negatively affect the immigration, or if it does, at least to minimize it. Okay? I mean, I'll give you just an example. Let's say that somebody has a theft crime, and the judge, the criminal judge, and the prosecutor enter into some talks, and it turns out that the criminal attorney for the defendant says, outside the hearing of the court, says, look, they're going to give you a year sentence and it's going to be time served. So you don't even have to serve any time in jail and everything's hunky-dory. Just plead to it and we'll be on our way. Sounds good, right? And then what happens is that person pleads, doesn't serve any time in jail, but it is then given notice that he or she is in removal proceedings and they're now considered an aggravated felon. They fight the case in deportation proceedings and then they're deported for the rest of their lives. Okay? Now, given those exact same facts, let's say that they went to an immigration attorney. Okay? Now, if I were looking at this and I saw that the judge wanted basically to give some kind of punishment, even though sentence was suspended, and I saw that it said a theft crime of it with a year sentence, I would know right away that that makes that person an aggravated felon. They don't need to serve 5 minutes in jail. The sentence itself does. So I would communicate with the criminal attorney, say, don't make it a year sentence, make it 364 days. Now, from the criminal attorney's point of view, and from the judge's point of view, they may not understand why we want 364 days with sentence suspended instead of a year. To them, it makes no difference, especially the judge. The judge still gets to slap you on the wrist, okay, still gets the criminal penalty. Everything is still fine. And from their point of view, it's exactly the same minus 1 day. From your point of view, from the defendant or immigrant's point of view, that makes it so they are not an aggravated felon. Yes, they will most likely be put in removal proceedings, but they will be eligible for a criminal waiver of inadmissibility. They can readjust status, they can ask for the waiver, all kinds of doors are still open for them, all because the sentence, the plea, was 1 day less. Okay, now this is just an example, but this is the reason I'm illustrating why you have to have an immigration attorney that works with the criminal attorney in this crimmigration area, this intersecting area of criminal law and immigration law, because it will make a world of difference for the defendant, because ultimately what matters most is their immigration sense, because if they get a real good criminal sense and they're deported for the rest of their lives, what does that matter? Okay, so make sure if you're in that intersecting area that you contact an immigration attorney to work with the criminal attorney. Okay?